Today, I'm blind tasting some aged rums that I haven't had in a very long time. I'm going to be seeing if my opinions changed them and whether I recommend that you buy these or not. Now, as a rum lover, I know you'll continue asking yourself, what rum should I buy next? Will that rum be a great sipping rum? Is it a really good cocktail rum? And is it worth the money? Well, over the past 3 years on this channel, I've tasted a lot of rum to help you on your journey and trying to weed out the good from the mediocre. Now, during that time, obviously my palate has evolved and perhaps some of my opinions have changed. So to help you further, I've set up a series of blind tastings of rums that I haven't had in at least 12 months and in some cases a lot longer. And today in this video, in this little batch of rums here, I've got some really famous rums that I'm going to give you my honest opinions of. Now, how is this series going to work? Well, for those of you who watched the last few videos, you'll have seen or maybe heard that I had a friend sitting at the end of the studio. Now, he's not here anymore, but we had this genius idea that before he left, I would get him to batch up loads of different rums. So I've got this, I've got various others for various other videos going. How I did this to make it as blind as I possibly could. None of these rums that I'm going to be featuring are on my back bar. They're all that side of the bar that I haven't had in a very long time. So I grouped together 10 to 12. So for this one, this is molasses, aged molasses based rums. And I've done Cange's rums for another video, etc. And I grouped 10 to 12 and I said to Jay, pick 7 and pour 7 into little bottles, label them 1 to 7, and then write them on a piece of paper what they are. So I've got no idea of any of the rums that it could be there. There should be another sort of 4 or 5 that aren't included in this. So this for me is going to be truly blind. So let's crack on with the first one. These are about 50ml samples. There's a bit there. I'm just going to sip them neat. I'm going to smell them, sip them neat, and I'm going to try them as a rum fashion as well. So first opinions of the first one. Smells quite sweet. And by that, I mean there's like big, sweet sort of caramel notes coming off there. Not sort of burnt or longer aged caramel notes, but that sweet caramel. There's a little bit of vanilla, little bit of sort of that soft fruit, like raisins, sultanas, that kind of thing. But off smelling, I'm expecting this to be slightly sweeter than perhaps a lot of the stuff behind me. So, entry, mass market, I think this is going to have a lot of fans. It's a little bit sweeter for me. I would bracket this in a lot of the spiced rums that are available in the UK, that level of sweetness. It's definitely a lot sweeter than you like to your Plantation XO. Definitely a lot sweeter than anything from Jamaica, from Barbados. Definitely sweeter than your El Dorados. It's going to be kind of a strange one. So vanilla's up front, but I get a little bit of honey, probably honeyed banana, if that makes sense to it. There is no mistaking it's a sweet rum, but it has got this burnt toffee vibe going off, like real in the back of the palate there. You can tell there's plenty of sugar in there because it's, you know, it's coating the teeth. It's, you know, there's no tannins as such. To coin that phrase, it is really, really smooth. So that's why I think the mass market are absolutely going to love this. Is this rum that I would personally enjoy drinking neat? No, because if I want something this sweet, I'm probably going more for a spiced rum. The only other notes I can really give you, maybe a hint of sort of chocolate coming through there. Look, in the grand scheme of things, that is a really good mass market rum. I just think as you evolve down your rum journey a little bit more, you are going to crave something not quite as sweet as that. So quick rum fashioned, delicious. It is delicious. I've put the merest smidge of sugar in there. I don't think you need that much sugar in there. What that does, and the Angostura bitters, I probably get more pronounced sort of chocolate and honey notes coming through off that. Again, do you know what? That, for me, for mass market, I would give it a big thumbs up. Entry level, you know, your Bacardi 8-year-old. I'm just looking around the back bar to really compare it to. I don't think there's anything on the back bar I would compare it to because this is kind of a lot sweeter. as I say, primarily some of the rums that I've got off camera are the sweeter ones. So I've got absolutely no idea what that could be. It's not giving me any kind of game. The only thing I probably would say is it's probably not pot still, but then there's a bit of sugar in there that would probably mask that. So I don't know, but mass market, yes. Once you progress down your rum journey, probably you're going to leave this behind a little bit. Right, and number 2, let's get this out. Right. So number 2, a little bit lighter in colour, by looks in, kind of a straw colour compared to that. Nowhere near as sweet as the first one. Absolutely nowhere near. It's kind of this like really faded sort of honey thing. I've got a big thing for honey. But just this lightly faded, subtle honey. Don't think there's much fruit coming off there. I'm detecting a little bit of sort of oakiness, a little bit of wood that's coming off that. But I'm not detecting any sweetness off there at all. I don't think there's much else on there. It's just probably honey, vanilla, oak. That's what I'm kind of getting off that. Wow, that's light and day to the first one. That's actually really nice. Wow, I kind of like that. There's, again, this honey. It's not as, I would suspect this might be one of the younger rums that I put out in this batch. I don't think there's that much aging to it. I've got absolutely no flipping idea with that because the sugar's obviously masking that. But for this does taste like a lighter rum to me. I think there's plenty of caramel coming off there. There is vanilla. The aftertaste, the finish, is giving me more chocolate, perhaps leaning more into coffee as well. Kind of like a bitter espresso kind of vibe, if you know what I mean. But there is this just subtle undertone of fruit coming through there. I actually really like that. Now, I'm conflicted with this because I'm trying to put myself in, my audience, your guys' shoes. I really like that, and I'm having a guess that this is a younger aged rum. I think for those of you that have been in a rum journey a little bit longer, you might want a bit more aging on it. As I say, and I've said this argument time and time again, I don't abide by that. I like my rum to taste of rum. I don't want my rum to taste of wood or heavily aging or whiskey or anything like that. So for me, this is really delicious, and I'm kind of thinking, why is this not on my back bar? Let's get involved in an old-fashioned. Now, I really like this. Again, the merest of sugar. That bottle, I would say, is probably about 40 ml of rum that's gone into that. Maybe 20 ml sample, topped up 40 ml of rum. I'm talking half a bar spoon of sugar. Not even that. 2.5, 3 ml of sugar gone in there. And just a merest dash of Angostura bitters. That is really delicious. Still light, still honey. The sugar brings out a little bit more fruitiness and a little bit more of those caramel notes. But I do really like that. Should you buy this rum or not? Look, I think, right, so mass market to rum lovers, I would recommend everyone try this rum. The mass market is going to need to work up to this, but I think this would be a good bridge into a longer aged rum, if you know what I mean. I'm convinced this is a younger aged rum, but big thumbs up for that. I'm not quite sure why that's not up in that top shelf, because I really do like sipping that. That's delicious. Right, off the nose for this one. Whoa, chocolate. Chocolate coming straight off there. But as that sort of dies off, I don't know whether that's just because it's been in that bottle and not much air in the bottle, I don't know. But as that chocolate sort of disappeared a little bit now, orangey notes coming off there, vanilla, caramel, bit more of that sort of sultana raisin kind of vibe. And again, I don't know whether I've just got this on my mind. I'm getting honey. I haven't had honey in a few days, to be fair. I don't know what this fascination with honey is, but I would say, yeah, I'm getting honey off that. So, right. I'm trying not to use the smooth word, but This is exceptionally smooth. Do I think there's sugar in there? I don't know. But what's conflicting me? At face value, yes, I would think this is sweetened. But I do get, not heavy, but I do get a lot of that barrel influence that's coming off there as well. Now, by contrast, the first one, the whole point of that sugar was to mask, when rums are that sweet, they mask that barrel, that wood, that oak, those tannins. You know, and that's what they kind of need. It's more of a rougher rum, and it needs that little bit of sugar. Now, with this, I suspect there has to be. I suspect there's a little bit of sweetness added to that in some shape or form. I don't know. The honey's there. There's no chocolate. I'm not getting anything like that. Barrel notes are there. Slight bit of orange, like just around on the tip of the lips there. I kind of like that, actually. The other big confliction with me is that it's got the hallmarks of an aged rum. It's got this smoothness, but it's potentially a little bit thin, if that makes sense. I get more body off the second one than I do off that. And I mean, I'm discounting the body off the first one because the first one, the body is there from sugar. Has to be. Standing by that. You will know exactly what I mean if you compared the first one to the second one. I think, how I'm going to bracket this, I think this is, right, I've got to work this through because there's going to be some contradictions here. I think this is a step up from the second one for those of you that like really longer aged rums. However, I think this is a bit too thin and a bit too light for those of you that really like longer aged rums. I'm not kind of sure where this sits in the market because I'm actually going to recategorize that. I think this is past entry level, but it's sort of that mid-tier range. There's nothing in there that's going to put you off. There is that shade of barrel notes of that aging in there, which might put some people off. How can I sum this up? Look, is this going to be a rum? Did it light me up as much as the second one? No. Is this a rum that I would think, yes, I need to have that back in my back bar? No. But for a lot of people, probably yes. Now, as a rum fashioned, that's delicious. I really like that. That sugar kind of brings out the body of the rum. So this is, right, so for me as a rum fashion, I do actually prefer this to this previous one. However, neat sipping, the previous one definitely over this one. All three of these so far, I've got there's no giveaways. I forget what's down there. I don't think I've put any Jamaican, but there is sort of, from what I can remember, there's a Barbados rum down there, I think. Or a blend, I should say. There's nothing so far that's thinking to me, oh, I know what that is, or I know what country that's come from. These are all kind of like generic, if you like. To sum this one up, I think this is one that you should definitely try. There's just something in it that's not lighting me up personally, but that is a really delicious rum fashioned and possibly my favourite rum fashioned so far. But it's not exciting me enough to have it as on the back bar and to grab it as a neat sipper. So yeah, that's how I'd sum that up. It's kind of there, just I've got better rums. I've got a lot better rums behind me. That's it in a nutshell. Right, number 4 is definitely giving me the most body, the most oomph, most grunt out of the 4 so far. However, it's not giving me that much on the nose. What I am smelling, I'm smelling that this is going to be quite full-bodied. I'm expecting to get quite a bit of sort of wood vibes coming off there. It is chocolate. It is coffee. It is toasted. It is, there's not much fruit coming off there. And I think there's this ever so subtle vanilla backbone coming off there. But for me, the big notes are that sort of chocolatey coffee kind of oakiness that's coming off that. Now on the taste. Whoo. Wow, this is spice. This has to be a longer aged or rum that's had more contact with wood. It has to be. there's spices coming off that for days. Like cinnamon, allspice, a little bit of nutmeg coming off there. Not like spiced rum or anything like that, but it's got that sort of peppery tingle that's come from longer aged wood, or longer aged rum, sorry. It's a chocolatey note going over the top of that. But there is this, I'm not getting much tannins off there, which leads me to suspect again there's a tiny bit of sugar in there. Now, is this as sweet as the first one? No, not even remotely close. I wouldn't put it as sweet as the third one either. But there is something in there that gives you that mouthfeel with that sort of cinnamon in that has to be slightly longer aged. It has to have had, like, spent more time in a barrel. It has to have done. But I think there's a little bit of something in there potentially that's kind of masking that. So is this smooth? Yes, if you like that spicy, peppery tingle that's you get from longer aged rums in there. This is a really smooth rum. There's no rough and readiness about it. Again, would I have it on the back bar? No, it doesn't excite me. It's nice. It's inoffensive. It's delicious. But I'm just looking up there in that corner. I'm not sure what's on camera, but you know, the Plantation XO definitely over this. You know, the Royal Oak definitely over this. Chairman's Reserve Forgotten Cask definitely over this. The Don Q Cognac finish definitely. You know, the Cuban stuff, the Dictador, I would all have over this. But yeah, it's all right. It's all right. That's the best that I can kind of give you. Now, as I make the rum fashioned here, I haven't had a stab at any of these so far. Out of the rums that I left out, there's just something to me that is pointing towards. My head went Solera, and I think the only rum that I've got Solera down there is Hechicera. And from what I remember of Hechicera, it does kind of give me that vibe. So I'm going to have a stab. This, I don't know, you'll be up on screen anyway. You'll see it. Flipping no idea what those three are. But it's just something that triggered me when I was tasting this, that reminded me of when I last had Hechicera, and it was all right. I just didn't think it was worth the money that it was. Right, anyway, rum fashioned. It's all right. The third one, hands down, is by far and away a better rum fashion than what this is. It's just, I can't put my finger on it. It's just not quite there. It leads me down like too much for sort of a toasted chocolate. But I think it's the wood. I think it's the sort of the barrel, the wood kind of vibe that I'm getting there. It's almost at soggy wet wood territory, not quite. And I think that's what puts me off personally. I think that's potentially Hechicera, that one. I think. Do you know what? This is the nose that is so different. There is so much going on here on the nose. Right, fruity, apricot-y, honey, vanilla. Coming back to pears. I'm kind of getting pears off there. There's like a little hint of caramel on there. And then bizarrely, my head instantly goes to like amaretto, like almonds kind of. I know a lot of people would go marzipan for that, but for me in the cocktail world, you know, I associate that aroma with amaretto. You know what? I even think there's a little bit of banana on there. Out of the nose so far, number 5, this has got an incredible nose. This is now what's exciting me. This is like, wow, now we've got something. Oh, what's going to happen here? Let's dive in. Let's hope it doesn't disappoint. Now, this is so tough. The palate doesn't match up to the nose, to the aroma, but I really like this. This potentially is my favourite. It's a close between this and the second one. For a neat sipper, definitely. As it finishes, actually, it finishes really mellow. Now, is this, would I call this smooth? I'm just going to rock this out. There's nothing bad against the word smooth, except we interpret smooth with sugar added. Now, this is smooth. I don't think, because I'm getting all those other tastes and everything else is going on, I don't think there's sugar added to this. If I'm comparing it to the third one's a lot sweeter than what this is. And that's minimal, and neither of those are up there at that first one. This is, right, what's going on? This is delicious. Let's run down these. Right at the end, I'm getting a little bit of coconut, but up top, vanilla, caramel, fruit, like mixed fruit, sultanas raisins, but like with a little bit of apricot in there. I'm not picking up, this is going to be really bizarre. I'm not picking up that amaretto, but I am now picking up a little bit of frangelico. Now, again, because I'm in cocktail world, that relates to hazelnut. And it's a very different kind of vibe to amaretto. Nutty. Let's just go with nutty. I think that's the best way there. The finish sort of opens out into this tropical coconut. Is kind of light. I'm not going to put this down as a longer aged rum. It's definitely a lighter rum, which leads me more towards column still. Powers of deduction. I've got an idea of what this could be, actually. And just as I kind of spill out around the tongue, I'm getting a little bit of tobacco. Do you know what? A little bit of tobacco. I'm right. Where this one sits for me, this is definitely an accessible rum for the mass market. But I also think this is kind of a pleaser for the out-and-out rum lovers. Now, look, is this a 12, 15-year-old wood beast? No, not even remotely close. If you like your wood monsters, if you like your rum to taste of wood, no, you're not going to like this. Your 12, your 15-year-old rums. I don't get it. Some of them are decent, but there's a lot of wet, soggy wood. That's just my opinion. But this is kind of lighter. If you like your pot still, your heavy, robust pot stills, no, you're not going to like this. But, as I say, this is lighter. This is fruitier. But with those nudges towards the tannins, nudges towards like the oakiness, nudges towards like a little bit of chocolate, but there's that fruit. That is an exceptional rum. I really like that. Now, in neat sipping, I can't, and I'm looking up there, I can't think of anything that I would actually, maybe the Don Q vibes. I'm going to throw this out there. I think this is, I'm taking a punt because it could be one of three things here. It's just something about me that thinks this is Angostura 1919. It's one of the very first rums, premium rums that I ever had. It's just something that's putting me towards 1919 on this. And I don't know why. I'm going column still. That's the thing for me. It's out and out column still, unsweetened, smooth, tasty, fruity. That's the clues, the giveaways. This is delicious. Right, let's try this rum fashioned. Delicious. I'm going to caveat this. It's very different to the third one as a rum fashioned. The third one has got more body, more oomph to it, which leads me to think that that's got a little bit of A, extra sweetness to it, but B, probably a healthy dose of pot still. Whereas this is column, this has to be column still. But I like that. The fruity aromas in there, that little touch of sugar just mellows out that little wood bite. This is delicious. I potentially would go my favourite so far for this. Out of them, I mean, that's a close second to which one I'm going to finish. And you know what? The second one I probably would finish. But I think this is the one that's like, I want to finish that. I want to, yeah, let me at that. I want to do that. So, yeah, this is my favourite, I think, so far as an all-rounder. I hope it's Angostura 1919. I can't think it's why it sits over that side of the bar and not this side of the bar. I can't think why I've fallen out of love with it. If it is that, I'm probably totally wrong. But yeah, big thumbs up. Like that. Now, number 6, by complete contrast, whoa. Varnish, barrel aging, woody, you know, that kind of vibe. Varnish. Yeah. Varnish, more varnish. I could be spelling that for another 5 minutes. I can't get past that. I don't think I'm ever going to pick anything else up off that. It's varnish and wood, and when I get stuff like this, I'm not enticed by them. Yeah, here we go. Wow. God, I wish this varnish note. Why? How? Where? I don't understand. That's really nice. Definitely a longer aged. Has to be a longer aged. Super smooth. There's that word again. Without the whole. Oh, I don't think there's additives in that. There can't be. It can't be. I don't think it's a sweetened rum just purely by that wood that I kind of get there. Right. Let's get a couple of things here. There is that heavy wood aging that does kind of put me off. But with that, I get fruity notes of banana. I get a little bit of coconut. There's a little bit of vanilla, some unctuous caramel in there, as opposed to like a bitter toffee kind of vibe that you get with longer aged rums. I'm potentially even going a little bit of stone fruit on there as well. And if you run that over your tongue, you do then get a little bit of like spice that's come over there. Now, that little tingle, I'm conditioned to think that if I get the tingle, then there's minimal to no sugar added. If I don't get that tingle on a longer aged rum, I tend to think there's a little bit of sugar added. That's kind of how I'm conditioned. Whether that's right or wrong or not, you know, can't argue one way or the other. I think that there's body in this to give me a longer aged rum, and the body is not coming from like a sugar or anything like that. The body's there from all those different flavors going off in different directions. If I could get past the aroma, which is still varnish, if I can get past that and just do that, I'm really enjoying that. That's probably at the very peak of an aged rum that I want, with those woody tones. But here's the thing, I still don't think this is like a heavy. I don't think, if I'm comparing this to St. Lucia, to Barbados, Jamaica, the pot still, that way I'm going is pot still. If I'm comparing it to that, I still think it's quite light compared to that. It's that little banana-y vibe that I kind of like on there. That's, yeah. Hang on, I'm going to have a rum fashion, then I'll sum up. Now, as a rum fashion, that sugar, the bitters do accentuate, and a little bit dilution, obviously, accentuate banana. It's banana. I'm getting this banana foam sweet that comes off there. Now, to sum this one up, look, longer aged rum fans, I think this is probably more for you. If you're a devout pot still person, you know, and Barbados and Jamaica, perhaps not for you as well, because it is a little bit lighter and it hasn't got that that a pot still gives you. But for inquisitive people that have gone from mass market, you're now at your sort of, as I say, your Flor de Cañas, your Bacardi 8s, your Bacardi 10s, your, even to a certain extent, a little bit of Chairman's Reserve, although I would put Chairman's a little bit of a step up above this. I think this is a good inquisitive rum for you, a longer aged rum. Just get past that varnish and get past the aroma and onto the taste. I think you'll quite like it. I really do. It doesn't excite me enough to have it on the back bar again, but I'm struggling to think now I've got something even similar on the back bar to this. This is why rum is so diverse. No two flipping rums are the same. Crazy. Yeah. A mid scoring rum I put for this one. Right, and then the 7th one. There's no way this is not sweetened. It's just, you know, smelling these, you will understand. If you smell a lot of rums, if you taste a lot of rums, you will kind of you'll kind of get to this point where you could smell potentially that something's got something added to it. Now, what I mean by that is that I've got this varnish thing going again, but it's just this sweet aroma that's coming off this. It's one of these contradiction things, because I think I'm smelling a little bit of woody oakiness. I think I'm smelling like toffee, you know, I think I'm smelling sort of vanilla there. It's a little bit of like fruitiness on there, maybe a touch of orange. But when you smell wood and that little bit of varnish, you're kind of thinking, oh, yeah, you know, longer age. But there's just this sweetness to it. It's just this thing to it. And you kind of think, right. So my head goes on a downer straight away, even though I'm blind tasting this. But the previous one, varnish, liked on the taste. Excuse me, the rum's kicking in now. Let's dive in. Now look, take off my perceptions of sweetness. Get rid of that. Sweet. It is sweet. Get rid of that. Mass market, you're going to like that. You are really going to enjoy that. There is nothing wrong with that. In fact, that kind of does light me up a little bit more than, say, I just use them like Bacardi, you know, in all this. You know, you've got these. That's where I kind of go for mass market. And I'm talking like the 8-year-olds specifically here. You kind of look at those and you kind of like, yeah, they're tasting. Have they got a little bit, and they're all right. They're inoffensive. They're kind of that step up. Flor de Carne will be another one. You know, there's nothing inoffensive about them. This has actually got, while it has got the sweetness, has got a lot of different flavors going on. Banana, vanilla, woody barrel notes, a little bit of spice, actually, to be fair, a little bit there. You know, you do pick up those vanilla notes as well. Look, is this a rum that people that have been on their rum journey for 2, 3, 4 years and they've elevated themselves to Barbados, Jamaica, Guyana, is this going to be a rum for them? No. Is this a rum, if you're on your Dom Papas, your Bamboos, your Krakens, you've got a bit of Bacardi, you've got a Flor de Carne 12 or something like that, you know, is this going to be a rum that you enjoy? Yes. Hands down, yes. I potentially would put this, in taste-wise, in like different flavours going on, actually above the Flor de Carne 12. Now, Flor de Carne 12, I do think is a superior rum, but it's just the tastes that are going off on this. I'm going to try this as a rum fashioned. I'm going to add a little bit of sugar, but I've got a sneaky suspicion what this is as well. Well, hold on. The merest smidge of sugar has now made that too sweet for me, which is a shame. I should have just done it bitters and ice dilution. That sugar, now this is the thing, because I've actually added a touch of sugar to the first one, which I think is sweeter, and you don't lose the flavour, whereas I think you lose all those different flavours with the dilution and that mirror. And I'm literally talking like half a bar spoon, 2.5 ml to like 40 ml of rum. That's a real shame. Now, I'm going to do the reveal. You've obviously seen what I'm tasting, but just from my own mind, I think, right, there's a couple of rums here that I think I can kind of nail. I think the first one is Diplomatico. I don't think there's any way in the world that Jay would not have included Diplomatico in this. So I think the first one is Diplomatico. My head was going Ron Abuelo for this one. The 7 that I've put in this group, because we did the 12 in the 12-year-old video. My head was going there, but now I'm not sure. It's just kind of literally kind of gone with that dilution. It's just lost everything. Neat sipping, lovely. With dilution, a little touch of sugar, it's just lost everything for me. And I would actually put that first one over this one, which is a shame because neat sipping, this last one over the first one, definitely because of all those different flavours. So it's how you drink it. If you're a neat sipper, I would go for this one over the first one. And I'm bracketing those together because they were the sweeter ones by a landslide. But if you like a rum fashioned, I'd probably go the first one over the second one because that's just lost everything. I've got absolutely no idea what the second one was. Nor I think the third one. The third one was delicious. The fourth one, I think that's potentially Hechicera. I do. And I think we had Angostura in 1919. But yeah, it's, you know, there's another 4 or 5 rums that Jay could have put in here. So I don't know. Let's get on to the reveal. Right then. I have to get the scissors because I can't just peel it open like this. He's taped the ends to the side so I can't get in. Right. See, this is what I don't understand with these videos. You all want me to put the things up there, but then you all know what's coming. I don't. So what is it? Is it just a shocked reaction of my face? Is that what you want to see? I don't understand why you want to know what I'm tasting at the same time, because I wouldn't personally, but there we go. So, first one, Diplomatico. Okay, yeah. Second one, wow. Okay. I'll read these out. You've obviously, hang on. Let me just get these all out because you know what's coming. So I've grabbed the 7 rums that he's put on there. Diplomatico. Yeah, definitely. English Harbour surprised me actually. Number 2, the second one, the English Harbour. As I say, I really like that light, and that's kind of a really nice rum. I'm sort of torn on that actually. Number 3 really surprises me actually, Equiano. Now, to fact check this, I am 100% sure that there's no added sugar to that because Richard Seal blends it, and Richard Seal ain't going to go anywhere near additives or sugar unless you class adding rum to a wet sherry barrel as an additive, which he doesn't, but I think some of us do. So, to my mind, there's 100% dosage free, which is really interesting because that tastes quite sweet. So that's the power of rum. 4 was Hechicera. Interesting. 5 was 1919. Let's do this. English Harbour 10. Again, this is this varnish bomb. Yeah, it's there. It's that aroma. I just cannot get past that aroma. And then number 7 was the Abuelo 7. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that's helped you a little bit and guided you in some rums. Now I've got to do all this again with cane juice rums.